Today, I'm talking about the blow up before the glow up. The lesson that you may just need to level up in your life or business. And this is a very relevant topic for me at the moment. And I thought really worth sharing because sometimes in life, especially when we have big goals, things get a little bit bumpy on the way to achieving those goals. And it was really interesting. I was listening to a podcast. No, it wasn't a podcast. I think it was a TikTok, to be honest. And it was a video where a lady was sharing how that, if you have a goal to uh, attain $1 million, for example, right? So you go, yes, I want to have $1 million, and $1 million is very far away from where you are right now, then the universe won't actually give you $1 million straight up. What it will give you is a bunch of lessons that you need to become the person who can have $1 million. And this is very much why we hear so much about when people, want to make all this money and they go on the lotto and they win a whole bunch of money in the lotto, or they get a whole bunch of money through some kind of way where they haven't necessarily earned it, or they haven't developed the neurology for it, that they lose it very, very quickly. And because you haven't become the person yet who has $1 million. And I see this a lot in a different in different aspects of life. For example, one of my clients was in a fairly long-term relationship, and it was on and off for quite some time, and there was a lot of arguments and a lot of sort of crazy stuff that went on, and a lot of breakups and get back togethers. And they started thinking about that, they wanted a better quality of relationship. And more crazy stuff kept happening, but they kept tolerating it in this, kind of, I guess, belief that love would fix all and eventually that their partner would come around. But what actually happened was things just kept getting crazier and crazier, to the point where it turned out their partner was having an affair right under their nose. And a whole lot of other crazy stuff happened where they could get to that point finally where they were like, no, enough is enough. Like, the behavior that I'm receiving from this person is now so crazy, there's no coming back from it. And that's not a fun thing to go through, right? That's not a fun thing to go through. If you're in a relationship with someone and they start doing off the charts crazy type behavior, then you're going to experience some trauma through that process, right? But sometimes that's how crazy things have to get for you to get the lesson that you need to have boundaries in place, or that you need to do something else. It can happen in health as well. I had another client who was wanting to level up his business, but his health had been holding him back. And it wasn't until he started having chronic anxiety attacks and chest pains and all kinds of things, that he would end up in hospital thinking he was having a heart attack, that he really started to look at how he was treating his body and to do something different, right? I've been through very interesting situations myself over the last sort of 12 months or so, where people that I've been close to, their behavior has deteriorated to the point where it's just got so ridiculous that I've had to put boundaries in place. And it's not a fun process to go through, especially when they are people that are close to you, and you might have all kinds of beliefs or values about the types of relationships that you have, okay, and what it is that you're meant to do in those relationships. And the problem is, though, that often when people go through these types of experiences where perhaps a relationship has failed because the partner's done the unthinkable, or family members are just you're going off the rails, or something's really drastic happening with health. Often when those situations happen, people start thinking that that means that nothing that they do works, that they can't catch a break, that they're destined to fail. But what if it actually means something else? What if the blow up is just all that was needed to lead you into your glow up? Right? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. And so, how I want you to think about this is one of the foundations of thinking that I always go by is that life is happening for you, not to you. Okay. And this comes back to cause and effect. And I spoke about this numerous times because it's so important. And when we're at effect, we say that things are happening to us, that my life's in a way that I don't like, and other people are doing things that I don't like, and I'm a victim, and I can't catch a break, and nothing I do works, and the world's out to get me, and everything in the world is rigged, and blah blah blah, on and on and on it goes. That's being at effect. That's being a victim. That's saying that the world is happening to me, and there's nothing here that I can get from that other than be a victim. Okay, that's quite popular side of life to be on. If we look throughout society, and if you speak to people just in general population, most people have got some sub stories about what's going on in their life and why it is stopping them from having the life, the business, the happiness, the health, whatever it is, freedom lifestyle that they want. But that's not very fulfilling. You can feel justified. You can get people to sympathize with you. You can get people to, back you up and tell you similar stories of how it's the same for them, but it still won't get you the kind of life, happiness, results, freedom, lifestyle, money, love, anything else that you want. So you have to be at cause. And when we're at cause, it's when we take responsibility for ourselves and the situation that we're in. When we're at cause, we go, okay, I take a point that says, whatever's just happened in my life now with this person or with my health, it in fact is my responsibility. I have caused it by the series of decisions, thoughts, behaviors, actions, everything that's led me to being in this exact point in my life, in this situation with these people around me. Now, that does not mean that you're to blame, because blaming yourself is just more at effect. Blame doesn't change anything, but taking responsibility for that is very empowering, because it says, okay, so if all the ways that I've been thinking, acting, behaving, feeling has brought me to this point, that means if I take responsibility for those things, I can change them and I can create something that I would rather have. Right? I can level up. And so this is why these things often happen before we have a level up. Okay, before we have a level up, because this comes back to, the concept, and I talk about this quite a lot as well, is that be, do, have. Okay, be, do, have, which means you need to be the person who does the things so that you have the outcome that you want. Well, what does that even mean? Well, if we think about who are you being, right? Who are you being? Who you're being is a combination of your values, your beliefs, your attitudes, your thoughts, your emotions, the actions that you take. All of those things are made up of who you are being. Right. And so in any given moment, you're processing information that's happening around you. You're responding to people and reacting people around you according to your values, beliefs, attitudes, how you think, your memories, all of those kinds of things. So that means that you're not responding to people how they are, you're responding to people how you are, right? So that means that who you're being, if you change who you are being, you will have a different outcome. Okay, so, one of the great quotes from Jordan Peterson and his book, 12 Rules for Life, and I'm just going to read this now, actually, because I think it's amazing. Jordan Peterson from 12 Rules of Life, he said, and this is his book, An Anecdote for Chaos, If your life is not what it could be, try telling the truth. If you cling desperately to an ideology or wallow in nihilism, try telling the truth. If you feel weak and rejected and desperate and confused, try telling the truth. In paradise, everyone speaks the truth. That is what makes it paradise. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. And now people often say, well, I don't lie, because they think that lying means that, you deliberately do something for your benefit that harms someone else, and then, lie point blank that you didn't do it. Okay, yes, that's lying, but there's a lot of forms of lying. And most people lie every day without even being aware of it, or thinking that they're doing it for somebody else's benefit. So a lie could simply be accepting someone's behavior and not letting them know that it's not okay with you. A lie could be that you're not getting what you want out of a certain relationship, but you're not telling the person what it is that you actually want. A lie could be that you are sitting there eating foods that you know are unhealthy for you, telling yourself that this won't hurt. Okay, we all tell these little lies. And the way that you can tell if you're telling yourself these little lies is your life how you want it to be? Okay, so whenever we have a blow up in our life is always preceded by a lot of little lies. Okay, a lot of what might be some people call people pleasing, might be fixing, it might be, suffering and being a martyr, it might be a whole range of things. Okay, but if your life isn't how you want it to be, try telling the truth of who you are, the truth of what you feel, the truth of what you think. Now, I know that sometimes when you're a people pleaser, or you feel like if you really told the truth, that someone would get upset, right? Someone would get upset and it wouldn't help them. But guess what? It's not your job to protect other adults from the reality of life. Okay? If you're not being honest about who you are, what you like, what you believe, what you value, how upset you feel about someone's behavior or what they said, okay, you're not giving that other person the opportunity to become self-aware of their own behavior. It's not your job to protect their feelings from their own behavior. Right? Really important. If you're in a relationship with someone where they're not treating you how you would like them to, you're not giving them up the opportunity to correct that. Okay, if you're in a relationship where you don't feel like this is the person for you, and you're worried that they'll be upset if you break up with them, you're not giving them the opportunity, or yourself, to be in a relationship with someone who does appreciate you or them exactly how they are. Okay, so try telling the truth. It's very, very important. And of course, by being the person that you want to be and who you truly are, and being honest about that, sometimes takes a lot of work. Okay, it sometimes takes a lot of work, because it's like the fish swimming in the fishbowl, unaware of the water. Okay, sometimes when you're in it, you can't see that there's any other possible reality. That's just how things are. And this is why the work takes layers and layers and layers, and years of life of being willing to uncover more layers, to become more of who you are, so that as you become more of who you are, and this is the work essentially I do with my clients, right? This is the work that you do with a coach. This is the work that you do when you learn things like NLP and timeline therapy and hypnosis. You are able to let go of that which is not you, the limiting beliefs, the old negative emotions, right? The outdated values, the attitudes that don't serve you anymore. All of those things that no longer serve you, and especially those things that do not match what it is that you want to have in your life, need to be changed. Okay, it needs to be changed. That means there's things that you need to let go of. There might be relationships that you need to let go of. There might be ways of how you show up in the world that need to be let go of. You might have to stop being a people pleaser. You might have to stop walking on eggshells around certain people. You might have to be willing to have people get upset and deal with that themselves. Okay, there's all kinds of things that can happen. And knowing that the more that you be who you truly are, the more that you are your magnificent self, the more that you set boundaries, the more that you step up, the more that you lead with kindness to yourself, the more you empower other people to do the same. Okay, you cannot protect people from the lessons that they need to learn. Well, you can, but it doesn't end well, right? Okay, so who are you being? You need to be the person. You need to become aligned with the outcome that you want to have. Okay, because when you're being that person, you will naturally do the things. Okay, so when you're the person who believes and loves and respects yourself, for example, you will do things like enforce your boundaries. You will do things like tell people when their behavior is not appropriate. Okay, you will do things like take care of your health and only want to put things into your body that are going to be beneficial to you. Okay, you will do the things in your business that you know you need to do to grow it. And this happens level after level after level. You know, I remember when I first started my business, I never imagined how I was ever going to make $100,000 in my business. I could not possibly imagine that. I knew that I wanted it. I knew that I wanted it, and I would say that that's what I wanted, but I couldn't see how that was possible. So I had to become the person who did the things, right? And this is one of the big shifts that I see, especially with, coaches and practitioners and therapists in business, moving from a job mindset to a business mindset. You have to shift neurology. You have to let go of the job mindset and move into the business mindset. You have to become okay with things like sales and marketing and promoting your ideas and putting systems and processes in place and being disciplined with how you use your time, asking for money, right? Managing money, doing all those things that are required in business. You have to be a business owner because then you'll do the business tasks. And as a result, you'll have the business that you want to have. Now that will keep evolving. Okay, so, once I did crack the $100,000, I realized, well, this isn't that much money. So you want to get to the next level, right? And then the next level and the next level. And each of those levels takes a new shift. It means you have to let go of an old way of thinking and move into the new way of thinking, develop the neurology for your new goals, whether that's 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million. You have to become the person. Okay, it happens at every level. I've got a client who's doing 20 million across his businesses. He wants to get to 100 million. He has to become the person who has a $100 million business. Okay, he's going to let go of the behaviors of being a $20 million business owner. Right, so that he'll do the things that result in having $100 million. Okay, so be, do, have. It's the same as if it's in your relationships. It's the same as if it's in your health. It's the same if it's in your just happiness of how you want to live. If you say that you want to have freedom, if you say that you want to be happy, if you say that you want to have a certain lifestyle, then you've got to be the person that thinks, believes, and acts as though that is their reality. Okay, you've got to be the person. So that means you have to let go of the things that aren't that. Okay, and sometimes if you are pushing hard enough for what you want, but you're not willingly letting go of that which doesn't fit in your new reality, you get a blow up, right? You get a blow up. You get the people who do the crazy behaviors. You get, the bad thing that happens that makes you feel like, oh my God, my world is falling in. Right? I've had that. I've had that recently where I've sat there and gone, oh my God, I did not believe that this is where I would be with these people. Right? I would not believe that these people that I've known in my life would suddenly end up in this space. Right? It's hard. It's hard. But when those things happen, it's the willingness of you to let go what doesn't serve and move on, which will get you the level up, which will get you the glow up. Okay, so it happens to the best of us, right? It happens to the best of us that sometimes we go through the blow up to get the lesson that we need to move into the glow up. Okay, it doesn't mean that if there's a blow up, it doesn't mean that, oh my God, everything I've ever tried never works. Oh my God, if there's always a drama whenever I try to get what I want and it kicks me back. That is only the case if you don't get the lesson, right? When you get the lesson, that blow up turns out to be a blessing. Okay, that blow up turns out to be the very thing that need to happen. If we talk about archetype, it's like the tower, it's the collapse of the tower. Things crumble down, old structures crumble down, old ways of thinking crumble down so that you can rebuild, so that you can build bigger and better, that you can have the greatest glow ups of your life off the back of a blow up. Okay, so ideally, we all set goals, work through, let go of the things that we no longer need, and do that in a nice, smooth way. But it rarely happens that easily. It's not impossible. It can. There's definitely things that have happened in my life that have happened much more smoothly than others. But remember, your neurology changes under stress. Your neurology, how you think, is part of your coping mechanisms for the environment that you're in. Okay, they only change when there's enough stress to require them creating new coping mechanisms. Okay, so that's why the journey up is a challenge. It's never about the destination, it's always about the journey. And so if you've had a blow up, take the lessons, my friend, and keep on heading for your glow up. It's coming for you. It's coming for you. And so I would love to know, have you ponder and send me an email. I love it when people send me emails and messages about what they've just heard and what they've got out of this episode. And I always respond. So, have you had a blow up? Right? Is it leading you to your next glow up? What can you learn? What can you move into that place of being in charge, being at cause, taking responsibility, and moving into that new way of being that empowers you and everybody else around you? Until next week, keep on glowing.